Welcome to the milk bar. 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 Welcome to the milk bar.
Welcome along to episode 630 of The Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And coming up on the show this week, we'll be joined by Dr. Alex, and we'll be finding out about an alcohol-free spirit which can help you avoid Hangsiety. That concern that you have that going out clubbing, now the clubs are reopening, is going to be leaving you in a bit of a state the following day, and all the shenanigans that go along with it. Plus, on top of that, we'll be catching up with AJ and Curtis Pritchard and Adrian Jackson as we talk about Cinderella at the Grand Theatre. On top of that, we've got a couple of authors for you. We'll be hearing from Chris White, finding out about his latest book for kids, Shell, and also another children's novel from Anita Stone as well. That's on the way on the show. Plus, we've got music from Dinky, having a natter with Gav from the band there. And also we'll be finding out about Cheese Cuisine's Fromage and Fiction. It is the UK's first cheese, wine and book club. They've sent me some goodies to try out, including some fantastic cheeses, which are currently in the fridge. And we'll be having a natter about that as we find out how that came together and the wonderful product they have available. That's all on the way on the Milk Bar this week. With the Grand Theatre due to open on the 19th of July, there are several one-nighters, and then from September it gets really busy with some absolutely amazing touring productions. CEO Adrian Jackson joins you now to tell me more. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, you all right?
Yes, very well, thank you. Lovely to be back.
And I'm back in the theatre and able to have a nice chat in a relaxing environment. The other side of us at the moment, we can see the entire auditorium. And it's not been a quiet time for you, because although the ghost light's been on, there's been quite a lot of work happening.
Certainly has, yeah. I mean, we've had to keep the machine moving, we've had to keep tickets being sold, we've had to keep the whole kind of all the back office services running, and we had a major flood in February, which was a disaster. Mm-hmm. And we've had a lot of repair work to do. So the theatre's had a little bit of a makeover during this time, but not quite what we planned.
But had it not been for lockdown, that flood would have been even more of a disaster.
Well, it wouldn't have happened really, because the problem with having a theatre like this locked up is because things like that can happen. You know, normally this theatre's open probably 7 days a week, almost 24 hours a day. So floods don't tend to happen, or serious floods don't tend to happen.
Because someone sees what's going on.
Exactly. So it wouldn't really have been a major issue, but as it was a very major issue, as it turned out.
Well, now, as it stands, the industry's starting to bounce back. There's an awful lot going on, and there's movement within shows, and I know that you and the team here are working around that. And obviously, some shows have been lost through no fault of your own, but you are welcoming everything that is going to be out there and has been in plan, and some of it's moved, and other bits are brand new to the stage.
Yes, we've moved a lot of productions. I think we're opening with Francis Rossi next Monday. And I think we've moved that probably 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And
dizzy, probably.
Yeah, and the audience, fortunately, they moved with the date. So, and then we've rescheduled an awful lot during next year, and it's been a massive rescheduling exercise. But we haven't lost a major amount of stuff, but we've managed to reschedule most.
And that's the exciting part, though, because people have been eagerly anticipating some of these shows. And the most eagerly anticipated show of the eagerly anticipated shows, Cinderella. Yes. And your chance to do Panto on stage under one roof, everything from the Grand, and about the audience that you know so well.
Absolutely. I mean, Panto is such a major part of any theatre's diary, and it's something that involves the whole family. In a lot of cases, the young children, it's their first exposure to theatre, and it's something that we all did. And last year was devastating not to actually have Panto here, and for the theatre to be silent. But this year, we're hoping that it will be back in all its glory, and keep fingers crossed.
And you get to work your artistic director muscles as well.
A little bit, yes. We've got a little bit. I'm getting involved musically in this production, yes.
But with AJ and Curtis, the Pritchard brothers, at the helm when it comes to choreography, I suppose they're going to have a bit of involvement there, should we say?
I would think so, yes. But you don't expect me to get involved in the choreography.
Maybe if they choreograph something, no, you don't fancy a walk on park.
No.
Okay, we won't subject you to that. But even then, looking forward to 2022, and there's opportunities there. I mean, that calendar is filling up rapidly, isn't it? I mean, the whole industry is starting to bounce back, and again, I'm sure you're you're thinking towards yet another in-house production, the likes of the History Boys that we saw just before lockdown began. So, there's a great opportunity ahead, a lot of talent out there that's waiting for work, and I'm sure that you'll be quite keen to get something on stage again in maybe a more dramatic lilt.
Yes, I mean, one of the big problems the industry has faced during all of this is the financial pressure, and we haven't had an audience, we haven't had any income, and that has had devastating consequences. And yes, we've had some government support, but it's not like, when you've lost all your ancillary sales, your bar sales, etc., it soon mounts up. And what that's done here is it's set us back a little bit. So we may have to wait just that little bit longer before we are able to produce another piece of drama or a musical play or whatever. But we will do it, we will come back, but it may just be maybe 2023 perhaps.
It's a chance to settle down.
Yeah.
But the amount of planning that goes into this, I wouldn't expect anything before then necessarily, because the amount of effort in getting everything in place that goes into it.
Absolutely. And I think all theatres are faced with the same thing, so we'd be looking probably 2023, and we'll start the planning next year.
So something to look forward to there.
Absolutely.
And again, I know you'll be able to keep us posted on everything that's happening with that. There's a lot going forward, and with Spotlight magazine coming out as well, I think that's really helped to get the Grand's message across. Yeah,
we wanted to do something a little bit different, new format. We've been closed for quite a long time. Let's reopen with something different, and that's what we've done. It's gone down really well, and we'll be working on our next one very soon.
So that's something to look out for. grandtheatre.co.uk, you can see everything that is happening, find all the details there. Most importantly, get yourself booked for Panto. I think that's the
Absolutely.
moral of that story.
Yeah.
01902 42921 to the box office number for that, and the team are there. And again, they're also helping out for those who've been moving tickets around. They've done an absolutely sterling job throughout, haven't they?
They certainly have. They've been working solid Monday to Friday throughout this whole nightmare, and hopefully we'll get everybody fitted in and slotted in the right place. So. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Well, it's something to look forward to. Yeah. Being back is the important part, and we look forward to some amazing shows.
Thank you very much.
Author, and I'm told also sometimes ballroom dancer, Anita Stone now joins me for a bit of a natter about all to do with her work. Hello.
Hi, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Well, good to talk to you. And you've got a series of books out, I believe.
I've just released my first book. However, I've written a second, so there will be a series eventually.
I think it's on the verge. So tell us a little bit more about this one, because it questions what a princess may get up to during the day.
Yes, it's called So What Does a Princess Do All Day? It is a story about a young boy who employs the help of a prince and a princess in order to save a woodland, which he is absolutely besotted with. He loves his woodland, but he finds that there are some villains who want to burn it down, so he finds help.
And when it comes to writing, I'm going to guess, based on this, for a younger audience, you really have to find some way of connecting with them, but still telling a fantastic tale. And I think that is an important part of being an author when it comes to kids who've got a set of experiences, but you can actually help to expand that through the stories that you write.
I think young people at the moment are very much into the environment, and I am as well. That's why I picked the subject. It's very close to my heart, especially during the last year. Going out walking and walking through woodlands has been very beneficial, and I think a lot of people are discovering that. And also, I think young people today understand that protecting habitats and woodlands and wildlife is going to be very important in the coming years.
And also taking on board the social influencer side of things too. People who have the ability to reach a large number of people to get something done, which can be environmentally positive. And I think there are times when we think, hang on, we need more people, the likes of David Attenborough, and maybe some of the things that Prince Charles has said over the years, which they're high profile, and they get a message across about the importance of our environment.
Well, I think that all of my books will have an element of environmental protection, and if I gain an audience, a larger audience, that would be fantastic. I always try to do my bit. I've got my solar panels. I know it's a bit of a luxury, they cost money, but recycling is something that everyone can do. And if you do have the luxury of a small garden, planting things for the bees and creating little habitats there.
Yeah, and equally, I think our works of fiction and drama need to make sure that they're reflecting the right kind of message without it becoming overpowering. I mean, here you're telling a story about passion, and that's good. Yet, we often see adrenaline-fueled car chases and stuff that actually there could be a second side to it, which shows more of what's really going on in an environmental way. We've never once yet seen James Bond recycle anything after he's had a cocktail shaken, not stirred.
And also, where you do watch television, people buy water in plastic bottles. And I think you can be subtle and still influence people. So the story is about saving a woodland, but that's not all there is. There's just lots of fun and cheekiness in there as well. It's just an underlying message that I hope will be picked up on.
Now, you've got to tell me more about the ballroom dancing I've been hearing you about.
I have been a ballroom dancer for 40 years. I just never had enough imagination to give up. I just kept dancing. And more recently, I've been able to compete. I have a dance partner who makes me wonderful gowns, which is lovely, a bonus. And in a few months, we hope to be back competing. Obviously, Blackpool is a place which is my second home. Mm-hmm. And we can't wait to get back. It was quite painful not being able to get together and practice during the months when we weren't allowed to.
I think through something like dancing, again, it's all ties in with the same sort of theme. It's a good way of getting exercise without it being too high impact on our environment. And it's also about pleasure and expression. And I think, all that we're doing here requires us to express our thoughts and get across the right message to people that as we are doing things. So we can do that through our actions and our hobbies and how we spend time with loved ones.
Even if I'm feeling a bit down, once I've gone and danced, I feel better. If I think that I've it just awakens my mind as well. That's probably the biggest muscle you use during dancing is your mind, because you've got to think of the next step and how to dance it. So it is good for mental health. It is reputed to be very good for people, to protect people against dementia.
There's some good box ticking done there.
Oh yeah,
but equally for great fun along the way as well. So I'm liking that completely. Mm-hmm. And when you come to the writing, obviously you've been ballroom dancing for 40 years. The writing's been on a bit of a backseat for a while. So why now?
I actually wrote the first book a couple of years ago, and simply because I had this idea in my head and it would not go away. So the way I dealt with that was I'll write it down. Mm-hmm. And then it sat there, because a children's book needs an illustrator, in my opinion. And I never found the time to find that special illustrator. And then I realized, well, if I don't find the time now without the dancing, I never will. And I found my wonderful illustrator, Joe Shepherd, who is just perfect for the humor. We get on like a house on fire, and he's very keen to do book 2 as well.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So he's going to be serious, and there will be many more to come, I am sure. Mm-hmm. How do we get hold of the book, and where do we find out more about you and your work?
Okay, the book is available on Amazon online and Waterstones, and my website is www.princessrose.uk. Now, it's not .co.uk. If you accidentally type that in, you'll get a Scottish Chinese restaurant.
Okay, so I'm peckish, but we won't go there.
You've got it.
That's a bit too far to deliver as well. So we will look forward to more of that. So it's princessrose.uk. You can get more on the books as they become books rather than book singular. And it's like a series to follow that flows from your mind and very much your consciousness and conscientiousness as well.
Thank you.
Well, we'll look forward to that. For now, Anita Stone, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jason. Thank you for having me.
Cheese Cuisine have launched Fromage and Fiction, the UK's first cheese, wine and book club. three things that kind of go together exceptionally well, but you've never had them in one package before. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Jeremy Clevitt. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you too. Thanks for having me.
Well, good to have you along. So I've got some great stuff you popped over to me. I received this wonderful box in the post this week, and this contains a sneak preview of August's offering for your members. This is something which is underway, launched in July. So tell us a bit about how it came about to start off with.
Well, we launched Cheese Cuisine back in January, and the whole idea of the website is to sort of champion British cheese, create content like recipes and interesting things for people to sort of devour. And in the starting process, we had this idea of a book club, and it was just sort of the beginning ideas of it. And then we had an author, Del Parks, you take one of our cheese boards and kind of post on Instagram. So we had some chats with her, and we're like, do you think this would fly? We're kind of really interested in it. So we sort of developed the product from there, leaning in the direction of supporting new and emerging authors. So our first book, Julia Henderson's, is her first novel. And then this is Richard Roper's second novel that you've got there.
The book is selected in the same way as you're dealing with the rest of the products too, because this is all sort of brought together to make a package. So you mentioned Norman Foreman, which is, they say, that first book, which has been entertaining your audiences for July. As we're heading to August, what people can order now. So we've got When We Were Young, Richard Roper there, and a lovely hardback copy of a book. I mean, that in itself says, it's something to sit down and relax with. We all like a good hardback book, don't we?
Yeah, that was the idea. A lot of new books get released in the hardback, so we've got kind of exclusive use with them and opportunities with the author to have interaction. And one of the products we do is an event with the author you can have with the ticketed event. So it's sort of getting the books and getting promotion for the authors before the soft copies come out later, like a year later.
But the package itself arrives looking fantastic. You've got a bottle of hand-selected wine in there. We have cheese, we have crackers here, and we have got a rather nice-looking chutney too. But I mean, the cheeses themselves. So here we have a range of 3 cheeses. This is pretty much standard for what you offer?
Yeah, it'll be 3 cheeses, and they're all designed around the author's book. So in this case, Richard's book, he came up with the idea while walking the Thames Path. And the book has settings along there, so we want to choose cheeses all from the area. So we've got Oxford Isis, the Oxford Cheese Company. We've got Wither Ridge from Nettle Bed, and then we've got Kearney Ash from Kearney. So they're all sort of from places near the novel too.
And how do these cheeses work as far as cheeses go? Because obviously, whenever you're having cheese and wine and crackers and a good bit of chutney thrown in for good measure, everybody has slightly different tastes. And I think we've got a range really here. I mean, the Oxford Isis, which is being the name of the Thames before it becomes the Thames, that in itself is a soft cheese, honey, mead, washed. I mean, what on earth is going on there? This just sounds like heaven in a small wooden container.
Yeah, so it's a classic rind wash style cheese, but done with honey mead instead. So it's a bit pungently and kind of funky on the nose, but not quite as intense on the palate. It's got a nice creaminess, a nice fruitiness to it. So fans of Stinking Bishop will like it, and I think but it's not over the top like a lot of rind wash cheeses can be. A lot of it is, again, opportunities for people to kind of go outside their sort of box and explore new cheeses too, things that they might not pick from the counter because they're a little bit nervous from. This gives an opportunity for people to try new things because we've worked with the author. We've given them like 12 or 13 different options of cheeses and worked with them to select. It really is a cheese board made with the author. They've tried all the cheeses. They've talked about the wines they like. They've tasted the wines with the cheese. Rich has created some great video for us of tasting the cheese. In the future, hopefully when this all settles down, we'll actually go to authors and we'll sit down together and do cheese tastings with them. But for now, we have the world of Zoom like we're doing right now, and we're working with Richard to kind of pick those cheeses. So it really is designed with the author and their book.
And also we've got a second soft cheese here. Tell us a bit about that one.
Yeah, so Kearney Ash is a small ghost cheese producer. They only do 2 cheeses. They're mini ash and full ash. So it's a classic edible ash, not a strong goat's cheese. Quite again, not overly farmy, really fresh, good acidity to it.
And a harder cheese as well. Tell me about this
yeah,
one.
So Wither Ridge by now is it's actually aged in hay. So you'll actually see little bits of hay on it, and it's all edible. I kind of reckon it to sort of a British version of Saint Nectaire. And Rose is a very interesting cheese maker. We did a feature on her in our Women in Cheese series on our website, so you can read all about Rose on there.
And this is something you do have experience of, Cheese Cuisine, obviously working with cheese producers. And I think it's something that we have an awful lot of in the UK that we don't often explore well enough. We may go on holiday to bits of our isles and try something different, and we'll bring a pack home because we love it. But it's having access to it on the regular basis and having something that ties in with it as well. And this is where this whole book club with cheese and wine sort of works together. And we talked about Zoom meetings. Are you kind of getting together and having a group session with various members as well, or is that something maybe a few people sign up to and do in their own right?
Yeah, so there's kind of multiple facets and venues we're kind of putting it through. So we've got a Facebook group and we've got a Goodreads group where people who've read the book and have the cheese board can kind of get on to discuss. Our authors will do Instagram live events, and then one of the 3 products we do on our website is, like I said, it's a deluxe edition where you get a ticketed event to a limited person event with the author to discuss it. So an online Zoom event where the author can do a reading, take questions, kind of learn more about that. And then we also have a product designed for actual book groups. So if you're hosting your book group, you can purchase the book group product where you get the book first, and then you tell us when you want a much larger cheese board, enough for 6 to 8 people, sent to you. So when you're hosting your club meeting, you have the cheeses for everybody to eat. And then, of course, there's just the normal personal edition with a cheese board for 1 to 2 people, the book, and then optional wine pairings. You don't have to buy the wine, that kind of pops up. And that's all about just sort of giving yourself a little bit of me time, relaxing, sitting on your couch in your conservatory, having a glass of wine, eating some cheese, getting yourself sort of deep inside the book and just sort of relaxing and getting away from the world and the noise of the world.
Oh, it sounds like a great way of spending a relaxed summer evening. It sounds absolutely perfect. And so everything is selected for you. So there are wine options. So you could maybe, if you got a choice of going for red or a sparkling or that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll have a couple of wines always, again, that were designed to pair with the cheese. I've got a background in wine, worked in Australia and Canada in the wine industry. So it's a big passion of mine pairing wine and cheese. So those are specifically paired. We've got lots of wines on our website, so if you want to pick something else, but there'll be a little pop-up when you make your order, telling you the wines that the author selected that go with the cheese. You can always add that in too.
And can you basically be left in your hands and say, I'd like the box with all of this each month, you choose it for me?
Yeah, sort of. We haven't set it up as a subscription service because we don't want people to be tied in. Not every book we're going to do is going to be everybody's cup of tea. So more, we hope to kind of create a community that keeps coming back to us and pick and choose the different books they want. There might be periods where we have 2 or 3 books on a go and a period where we don't necessarily have one. It all depends on sort of the publishing, what books are coming out. You know, we're not going to do a book just for the sake of it. It really needs to fit in with sort of, I have to love it first and foremost. I've been very busy reading proofs and deciding what our next books are going to be, which is definitely a fun part of the job. And yeah, once a book sort of looks like it will work, it has an area connection with cheeses. It doesn't have to be about food or anything. The funny thing about Norman Foreman, which is still obviously available on our website, there's still it's just launched only a few weeks ago. Is a story about a young lad sort of working his way up to Edinburgh to try to do a comedy routine in memory of his good friend Jack, who passed away sadly at 11. And it's kind of one of those really heartfelt books with a lot of comedy in it. And so we've chosen cheeses for that one from areas that he goes. So there is a cheese up in Scotland, there's a cheese in Cornwall where the book starts, and there's a cheese in Wales. And so that's really a journey book. So any novels that sort of take you on a journey or have close connections to someplace in the UK is kind of the books that we're after.
Well, I say it's an amazing concept. The fact this is the first is, number one, a surprise. Number two, where has it been all these people's lives? I mean, this is a chance to enjoy a great product delivered to your door, and with some brilliant work in the written form, and I say a wonderful range of cheeses and the wines, which you guys know all about. I'm looking forward to the crackers as well, and that chutney does look rather tasty. I will be indulging a little later on for those who equally wish to get themselves into the wonderful world of fromage and fiction. Where do they go to?
Yeah, so just head to our website, cheesecuisine.co.uk. If you Google Cheese Cuisine, you'll find us too. And it's Fromage and Fiction is what the club's called. You'll find it right on the top of our main page. You just go to the Fromage and Fiction tab, and it's all right there.
Well, Jeremy, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing cheese and the love of good books and good wine at the same time. And we look forward to continued success, and I hope we catch up with you and some of your authors in the not too distant future.
Lovely. Thank you, Jason.
Dinky have a brand new single, Jennifer Against the World. Who is Jennifer? We know who Dinky are. Gavin Medza is from the band and joins me now. Hello.
Hello, sir.
How are we doing?
Very well, very hot.
Well, yeah, you're still wearing a winter hat. What's going on there?
Well, I always wear a hat, to be honest. I just never. I started just wearing hats more, and I just prefer. I'm losing my hair, Jason. So I'm at that self-conscious stage of my life where I need to wear hats.
I've had to get over it, but now equally during the summer I have to wear a hat because otherwise I get particularly badly sunburned. We're having glorious weather, and this is glorious time for some proper summer music, I think. And this says, wind all the windows down on the car if you haven't got a convertible, and listen to it as you drive at a sensible rate off to the countryside or the seaside. I think that works, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Tell us a bit about the track.
Okay, so yeah, Jennifer Against the World. It's about my wife, Jennifer. So it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek look at just some real things that happened in our relationships when we first started going out. I noticed that Jennifer has a very short fuse and patience for things.
It could just be with you and not everybody else, but that's not just.
I just found it fascinating. I mean, it's difficult to kind of contextualize it really, but yeah, she's just one of these people that just isn't afraid to just speak her mind and just go a bit crazy at times. And
which means she's probably expressed an opinion on the track. So how does she feel about it?
I think, obviously the track isn't meant in a malicious way. It's just a bit of a tongue-in-cheek look. And I think in retrospect, there are some events that happened like years ago that at the time were a bit ropey, but actually you can kind of look back in hindsight and have a bit of a laugh about them. Little minor road rage incidents and things like that. And she's fine. She likes the track. She gave us consent to use childhood photos of her for the artwork and things like that. The bit that I find really strange though is the fact that all the last week or two I've just been doing lots of interviews about this track, and I'm starting to feel like it's sort of maybe like marriage therapy or something like that. I don't know.
Well, this is it. Well, I mean, maybe Relate will start getting everyone to write a song if they have got anything to work through, and that can be good or bad. I mean, I think this is part of cementing your relationship, isn't it? It proves that you got a good strength and some good fun in there. And I think part of the of listening to music is all about building up a passion and telling a story. And when it's personal like this, it must make it great for performing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always been a kind of in terms of songwriting, I can't just write generic lyrics about things. Everything has to have a meaning. And so I tend to write really personal songs about my friends and family and events that have happened in my life. And one of the reasons why I did that was because I have a terrible memory and I always forget things. I don't know why, I just have a really awful memory. So when I started writing songs, it was kind of like an audible version of that memory, if you like. So it was a way of me to collect these things that are kind of important to me or things that I'd like to remember and put them into songs. And so the last album was called Open Letters because it kind of occurred to me that all of the songs were these open letters to people about things that had happened and memories and things. So yeah, everything's kind of very quite self-referential or sort of intertextual, I guess.
And the rest of the band got partners they wish to be adding to the musical repertoire with at some point now? Could this open the floodgates?
I mean, I think we've all got a Jennifer in our life. I would say that. I think everybody knows a Jennifer. So I think we talked about potentially doing a new mix of the song where we just take the word Jennifer out, and then you can just insert your own wife's name or girlfriend in there. So,
sing along at home. I think that works well.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've had good fun doing the video as well.
Yeah, the video was a lot of fun. So we asked. We had lots of different versions of the video. Originally, it was going to be like an AA meeting type thing, but we couldn't get it together for some reason. So we asked Jennifer if she'd be in the video, but she said no for obvious reasons. So it was just kind of jokingly sort of mentioned in a rehearsal, I think, that I should dress up as Jennifer, and I just went, yeah, okay. But I don't think they were actually being serious at the time. So. Yeah, I found a body double because we had to have like a body double in the video. So my friend Marie, who's done some singing with us and is in this other band that I'm starting, she was the sort of acting Jennifer. So you never see her face in the video; you just see the sort of back of her head. And but she took me out. We went shopping for dresses and wigs, and there's actually a making of feature on our YouTube channel which shows you some of the footage of. The dress shopping and my transformation into Jennifer.
And more music to come, no doubt, in the not too distant future. So what else have got in the pipeline for Dinky?
Yeah, so we actually shot a video back in April for a song called Oxygen, which is probably going to be the last song from our current album. But we decided to do the re-release for Jennifer because, like you said earlier, it just felt a bit more summer, and it's getting a lot of radio play at the moment, so it's still very much an active track. Oxygen will be coming out later in the year. I'm not sure when we're going to put that out, but that's finished. We finished editing that last month, and yeah, we're just looking forward to playing live. Actually, Jason, you know, it's been a long time, hasn't it? And we're rehearsing a lot more regularly now, so we're just getting back into the groove. So I think the plan is to just get playing and try and get out there a little bit more, and we're writing new material, so I think there's probably a third album in the pipeline at some point, and we're making plans for some international shows as well. I think that was the kind of plan before COVID hit, was to try and broaden our scope a little bit more and just go and have some adventures. So I think there's going to be plenty in the pipeline. It's just again, it's just that waiting game of, you know, when it's safe to do this and when you're allowed to do that. So but hopefully there's some good stuff coming up in the future.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that there will actually be Jennifer Against the World used as a bit of an encore, which gives you time for a costume change at all the live gigs, because I think that will set the scene rather well. But that in itself is a song which I think it sort of embodies the listenability of Dinky. And I think I said this to you last time we had a chat. I mean, you are just so easy to listen to. You kind of want to, even if you haven't got time.
Yeah, I guess it's quite our music's quite poppy, I would say, and I don't think that's necessarily a dirty word. You know, I think there's nothing wrong with a good pop song, and I think we have that pop sensibility about our music. I think we do have a lot of sort of other sort of elements and genres that we play with across all of the music that we write. But yeah, I think it's just a good, safe, radio-friendly track, and you know, and sometimes those are the ones that are just the easiest and the most fun to write. You know, they just fall out of you, and they're just good fun to play. As I say, I think we never intended Jennifer Against the World to be like one of the sort of standout tracks from the album. It was always seen as this track that we played okay in rehearsals, but you know, sometimes it sounded really good, sometimes we'd be like, yeah, it's all right. But yeah, it just turned out really well in the studio, and then, as I say, it seems to be everybody's route into the band over the last 12 months. So everybody who's contacted us or bought albums have always said it's through, well, I heard that song, Jennifer, and then I, you know, found out more about you. So the song's been a really got a good track for us, really. You know, it's had a lot of airplay, as I say, globally, and we just had to re-release it again and give it a bit more of a proper release this time around.
Well, it's going to get more airplay in a moment's time. Before we do, though, give us all the details on what we have so far and where to look for those gigs, whether we're travelling internationally or something a little closer to home.
So currently, obviously, Jennifer Against the World is our brand new single. The video for that is on YouTube. There's also a making of feature if you enjoy the video on our YouTube channel at the moment. There's a free download of the single on our Bandcamp site, which is dinkymusic.bandcamp.com. We've dug out some B-sides as well, some rarities, and that's all free to download. And yeah, we're on Spotify, or just check the website, which is dinky-music.co.uk, and that's got links to all of the socials and everything that we're on. And that's the best place to find us.
Absolutely. Well, do check that out. You will not regret it. I can guarantee that. Even if it's only for a fine selection of hats that you will no doubt get to see at some point. I'm hoping there's a live gig set as well. Again, that's something else that can be changed partway through a set. It's quality. Gary Meds from Dinky. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, James. Thanks very much.
She always had a way to find the truth, but there are a lot of things that make her mad, and it doesn't take a lot to blow her fuse. There must be something every day
White never stops drawing, apart from to draw breath and possibly write a few words down as well. Shell is his latest project. The books are available now, and so is Chris White for a chat. Hello.
Hello there, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm good to catch up with you. We like to drop in every once in a while, and your output of work is best described as prolific.
Well, you know, we've had a lot of time on our hands recently, haven't we, with not a lot to do, so I put it to good use. Yeah.
I mean, but you're always busy anyway. I mean, we've said in the past the number of times that you've travelled around the world entertaining and educating, and that's been happening online on occasion. But mostly you've been locked in that small room that we find you in now. And this is the birthplace of Shell.
Yeah, well, actually, the Shell did appear. It came from one of the trips I did abroad a few years ago. Where I actually occasionally get ones where I hopped to different countries. Mm-hmm. So I think I was in the Middle East for a couple of weeks. Then I went to, was it India, then Shanghai? And it was a bit of a crazy schedule. And every night I set myself the task, as I do on every trip, to sit down every evening as I'm either having something to eat, you know, because you're on your own, so you get bored of your own conversation after a while. So every night when I'm sitting down something to eat, write a chapter of a book or a few poems, or at least do something creative. And most of the times on these trips, I fail miserably. I do a couple of days and then that's it. I just get too tired, or I want to explore, or whatever. So, but on this particular trip, I started writing Shell, and I started enjoying it and thinking, oh, actually, I think I'm onto something here. So over the 2 or 3, 4 weeks I was traveling in different hotels and different countries, I actually sat down and was disciplined and wrote a chapter of Shell a night.
The character themselves are just to your left as things stand at this moment in time. And we seem to have a snail with a ray gun. Now, this has all the trappings of a really good tale, I can tell.
Yeah, you know what? I had a review for Shell, and it hit the nail on the head. It's one of those punch the air moments when they said it's Star Wars meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I thought, you know, you occasionally get a review of a book and you think, hang on, I didn't write that, did I? You know, and they completely missed the mark. And it's like, really? You got that from it? Okay. But this one, it's like, yes, that's exactly what I was aiming for. Yes, it's a band of space traveling laser blasting, planet saving, peacekeeping creatures, of which our snail here is kind of the leader.
Yeah.
Commander Skycrawler.
Well, he's got great teeth, so.
Yes, I mean that's the first thing you notice about a snail, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have great teeth. And so, this band of space heroes, they have one thing. They have to have one thing in common, and that is they have a shell.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the trickiest bit of writing the whole book. Let's see if we can do it now. I have got a copy of the book here, but I'm not going to show you the cover because let's see if we can do this. 5 members of a shelled space team.
Well, you've got,
so we've got the
snail. You've got tortoise.
Oh, well in, yeah, tortoise.
Can we cheat and have a turtle as well?
You know what? I did think about this, and I thought, is a turtle too similar to a tortoise? I'm saving the turtle for the sequel.
Okay, that's great. So we've got 2 so far. What else would have a shell? Well, you get those hermit crabs who have a shell.
Crab, ding.
You've got various mollusks. Are we talking oyster? Is that where we're going?
We have a clam. Yes, a clam is the leader. Yeah, sits behind the desk and orders the rest of the team about. We've got one more, which I'm going to have to look because I can't remember myself.
Let's see what I can think of. What would have a shell?
Tough one. Tricky.
I'll
tell you.
Go on, you have to tell me.
An armadillo.
That I suppose. Yeah, that gives you all those possibilities of some serious land-based stuff and able to move faster.
Exactly. That's just what I was thinking. And to round it off, because I needed one more actually, because the clam doesn't really do much action because he's sat behind the desk.
Yeah.
In a James Bond M kind of way. The last one, I needed one more, so I cheated and I came up with an egg-shaped robot.
Okay.
Yeah, called Eggy.
That sounds like you've just been creative, which is allowed in your profession, isn't it?
Thanks very much. So there we go. Yeah, look, there's the cover and everything, look.
Wow, this looking, and your artwork always is stunning, and that again does not disappoint, does it? There's more crustacean type creatures and laser guns, then you know quite what to do with. So that works.
I mean, what else do you need when you want a space-based action adventure? You need lasers. Although, Jason, that's another tricky thing. Obviously, this is mostly a children's book, although plenty of adults have said they've enjoyed it too. You can't really go killing people in children's books.
Well, no, you don't. I mean, but you can use it to protect and create a safe environment.
So I get the lasers. Again, I had to think of different ways for lasers because you can't have them, shooting people to bits and everything. So we had to have different settings on the lasers, like stepped on a piece of Lego, or something with a nettle. The Lego sounds horrendous because we've all been there. That's the worst. I went in at the deep end, and that's the worst one you can think of.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a way of having a bit of fun with it too. And I love what you do. I love your work. You're always terribly, terribly entertaining. So, and I mean, the whole concept of this is slightly mad, which I think is a good starting point.
It is, yeah. I just wanted it to be fun, and when you're writing in science fiction and space and that kind of thing, yeah, all rules are off, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a planet made of bubble wrap, and one that's underwater and patrolled by security prawns. Anything goes.
So no, you just said security prawns.
Security prawns, yeah, 2 prawns. They bring the muscle. Seafood muscle.
Yeah, it's always impressive, and
I've said that now.
Always good fun. I mean, this is another of the wide-ranging pieces of work in your repertoire. I'm still trying to get over the chicken colouring book thing. That
I don't know what I was thinking then.
It's still available though.
What was that? That was a series of classical paintings, wasn't it? Done,
yes. With chickens.
Yeah.
That you could colour in yourself.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, between you and me, Jason, it wasn't a massive seller.
But it was such good fun. I like the fact that I seem to know more about your work than you do. So, but there is a wide range of Chris White product out there, and everything from the vegetarian vampire through to now the work of the team from Shell, who will be going off saving planets all over. And you've already mentioned this is going to turn into another series?
Yes, I was very, very hopeful when I did this and kind of subtitled it Episode 1 The Horse Awakens, just in case anybody, because when you're writing these things, you never know if one, if anybody's going to read them, two, if anyone's going to publish them, and three, if they're going to be any good. And hopefully I've ticked all the boxes there. So yes, episode 1, obviously, then you got the pressure of writing a sequel, which is quite exciting. I started it last week, actually. It's quite exciting. I've never written a sequel to anything before. And that throws up a whole new bunch of challenges.
Well, there you go. What will happen to the clam? Who will an extra member of the team be? Will it be a turtle?
Well, I think exclusively, Jason, on your show, we can confirm there will be a turtle involved.
Oh, I'm already overwhelmed completely with the concept now. So, I mean, can we think of anything else with the shell on that's gonna fit in here that we haven't already covered the major almost food groups of? So this is going to be interesting. I love the robot egg. That was a good one. So the egg shell. That for anybody who hadn't spotted that, but there is still a few opportunities out there for some more shell-based puns.
Yes, if anybody can think of any other shell-based creatures, then do send them in, because I think I'm out. I can't think of any more. We may have to look at the shell policy of just recruiting creatures with shells. I know that's controversial, but, we could open it up to the wider galaxy of creatures.
I think there's a diversity question in there, and it's one that you'll enjoy answering.
It's very inclusive these days. So, maybe shell is a bit too behind the times, and we need to open up to all creeds, colours, religions, and non-shell based animals, maybe.
That could happen. Chris, give us all the details on where we can find all of this nonsense.
It's I'm going to put that on the back of the next book. What, all this nonsense. Yeah, it's available in all top bookshops across the galaxy. The usual places online, all those places we say, oh, I'm not shopping there, but we do. And also your local bookshop, if you go in and pester them. I'm not sure if it's kind of, it was released a couple of weeks ago, but it takes forever to creep onto the shelves.
Yes.
Shelves.
Shell, that was again.
I'm writing that one down. I'm using that in the sequel.
That was absolutely your level of humour.
Yeah, it was as well. Yeah. So everywhere that good books are sold, you will find this in there.
And it is a good book. It's bound to be. It's got Chris White's name on the front and his drawings all over it, which is the way we like it. Give us your website as well, please, sir.
It's veggievampire.com.
So we will find out more about the next in the series of Shell as it comes to the world. We'll look forward to that tale and more work in the not too distant future, I trust. Chris, always good to speak to you. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in real life soon.
Thank you. Take care.
With Freedom Day upon us and the fact that people are going to be heading out more, we could well see the return of Hangsiety. This is the worry of getting a hangover. To tell us more, I'm joined now by medical advisor to the government, Dr. Alex George, and from Calenio, I've got Ellie Webb. Hello to you both.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
Right, so first of all, Ellie, explain a bit about the fact you've run this survey.
Yeah, so Calenio, we make non-alcoholic drinks. So Calenio is a tropical non-alcoholic spirit. And we've commissioned research into Hangsiety, which has revealed some very interesting stats about the state of the nation at the moment.
When we're coming to the freedom and the fact that we are going to be out enjoying ourselves a little bit more, hopefully no one going to excess, and of course still behaving sensibly and making sure we don't mix with anybody who might have coronavirus, this can lead to anxiety. Alex, explain a bit more about the Hangsiety that is going on here.
It's quite interesting to look at people's behaviours. So essentially through lockdown, the start of lockdown, a lot of people drank a bit more, but actually as lockdowns had progressed, people's drinking habits decreased. So around 47% of Gen Z and 34% of millennials decreased their drinking during lockdowns. But as the lockdowns are coming out, we're seeing around 1 in 4 saying that they're drinking more alcohol. And importantly, there's as many as 2/3 saying that actually they're experiencing this anxiety. So anxiety, what we're saying is the next day feeling worried about the last night, feeling a state of having palpitations, and a state of being on edge, and just generally not feeling, yourself. And it can actually have a really significant impact on people's mood. It can take days to kind of recover from that hangover. So what we're saying is, let's have a balance. Calenio, for example, is a non-alcoholic spirit. You can go out and have a drink and enjoy, but try and avoid having those hangovers. So it's not losing those good habits you formed throughout lockdown.
Yeah, because I mean, people will probably be craving going out for a drink and the experience, but the alcohol is a lot less important to that, isn't it? It's for many, it's not just about going out and getting drunk, particularly because they'd be able to do that a lot more cheaply than they would normally anyway, on the grounds that they haven't had a drink for so long. But why not keep those good habits and enjoy something which has got a good taste to it, but doesn't have the after effects? And it's those after effects and binge drinking, which is probably even worse for us than having been drinking small amounts regularly in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about becoming out. I enjoy having an alcoholic drink, but I quite like using the non-alcoholic drinks as a to swap out some of those. For example, have one drink that has alcohol in it, one that doesn't, and it means that you're very much enjoying, but not having as much of the alcohol in total. So again, it's about that balance, isn't it? I'm not cutting out alcohol entirely. I just think it's finding a little bit more leveling up and making sure that we're not in a state that we're already quite anxious in. We're not doing anything to add to that anxiety.
And Ellie, at Colinio, obviously you've got a range of products which allow people to do just that. And it's when you're drinking a spirit, it's more than just, again, the alcohol content. It's the flavour that you get with it, that tingle on your tongue. It's about the whole experience. And you're giving that, but without the alcohol content.
Yeah, exactly. I think, people are bored of going out, and if they're not drinking or want to balance their drinking and drink less alcohol, a Diet Coke, J2O, a glass of water just isn't cutting it anymore. People want to go out and have a great experience and have great cocktails and well-made drinks. And Colenio delivers on that. You can use both of our products, and we have them behind lots of bars in the UK and restaurants, which is great now they're opened back up. And people can go in there and order a really nice cocktail and have 2 or 3. Or like Alex says, if you want to balance and have one alcoholic drink and then switch to some non-alcoholic drinks, that's absolutely fine. I think we want to encourage people to keep some of those positive habits that they've got during lockdown and where they have been drinking less, just to keep those and not to lose those and go back to old ways.
Yeah, without going for it for the sake of it, you're actually going out and having something you will enjoy. And Alex, again, you mentioned the one-on, one-off thing, and this is all vitally important. Our bodies, when they're metabolizing alcohol, use quite a lot of water, don't they? So it is, again, a good way of making sure that you don't end up dehydrated, which is a big part of that hangover, by having drinks alternating between something alcoholic and something non-alcoholic.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very important point that, to make sure you are consuming plenty of water, especially when you're having drinks in the night. It's very important when you come home from night out, say you've had a bit too much to drink, consume plenty of water before bed to rehydrate as much as possible. Because then actually what happens is when you go to bed, you're already in a state of dehydration, because the alcohol, when you're asleep at night, obviously not consuming alcohol, that actually allows your body to become more dehydrated. So worsening effects really of the hangover in the morning. So make sure in the morning we get up, if you need painkillers for a sore head, take some painkillers, plenty of fluids, have some food with carbs and stuff to give yourself some sugars, because sometimes we feel a bit of jitteriness because of that lower sugar levels, and of course rest and recovery really from a hangover.
But also equally, make sure we manage the peer pressure to drink. And if we're having something non-alcoholic that looks exactly like an alcoholic drink, actually the pressure's off because they don't know that we're drinking sensibly.
Yeah, that's what I enjoy about it. It's not about feeling you're missing out. You're not missing out on enjoying a drink that you enjoy the taste of and enjoy the experience. You're not missing out on being around people. It's not necessarily withdrawing yourself from that situation. It's just, as we say, finding a balance and knowing your limits as well. A lot of people haven't drunk for a long time. So when you go out and have a drink, you might find actually your tolerance is so much lower. So it might take you a pint or so, and then you're really feeling the effects of the alcohol. So, we don't want to be in situations where we're not in control, so that's for me a very important point as well.
Yeah, whatever happens, this is another great way of allowing us to drink sensibly and make sure that we still have an enjoyable night out with the experience, but not the after effects. And Ellie, tell us about the flavours that you offer in the range.
Yeah, so we've got Colenio Light and Zesty, which is a sort of balance of tropical, spice and citrus botanicals, and you mix that with tonic over ice. And then we've also got Dark and Spicy, which is a darker, richer blend of pineapple, coconut, fresh lime and vanilla, and you mix that it's beautiful with ginger ale over ice.
So maybe something which goes for maybe your gin drinker and your rum drinker there. Would that be the right sort of feel?
Yeah, so if you're into your darker spirits, I'd recommend Dark and Spicy, and if you prefer your sort of lighter, more refreshing spirits like gin, then I would go for a Light and Zesty. Alex,
are you light and zesty in this case?
I go between the two, but I think, certainly today, I think on a sunny day that it is, I think a light and zesty would be quite nice. I think this afternoon, I'd say, the sun's shining, bit of ice, very nice indeed.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Ellie, where do we go for more information?
So you can head to Calenio Drinks, our social media. We're all over Instagram, or caleniodrinks.com to find out more about our drinks and purchase them as well. We're also available in Sainsbury's nationwide.
So you can check out there. Calenio, Caleno, and you've got a little twiddly thing. What's the twiddly thing called over the end?
It's called a tilde. So it's the name originates from Colombia, where my family's from, and there's a lot of inspiration. I mean, the tropic ingredients, the reason that the bottles are so vibrant and colourful stems from Latin America. So a little squiggle over the end is a tilde.
Well, we're liking that. We're liking the brand and the style. And the important bit is we can go out and enjoy a drink. And if we don't want people to know we're not drinking spirits, they won't. If someone has a sniff of your drink and say, "Oh, you should try this, it's nice." Obviously, you won't because it's COVID. But you can make sure that they often buy their own. I think that's the way it should work, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Alex George and Ellie Webb, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks for having us.
The magical fairy tale of Cinderella arrives at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre, finally. From the 4th of December through to the 9th of January, two of the stars of the show are AJ and Curtis, who are with me now. Hello, boys.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. You all right?
Very well, thank you. I'm just happy to be actually in a theatre now. I feel like it's a light at the end of the tunnel. We are actually going to have pantomimes back, people in here, and being able to just perform. It's scary to actually say. The last time that we were performing was the day that everything got cancelled in March, like 2 years ago.
And that was strange, wasn't it? It's been a funny time. There's been stuff which has come out of it which has been great. I mean, Zoom calls, who'd have thought it? But everybody's loved doing that, sort of. But,
sort of. We still don't know how to work Zoom
I know.
properly, but...
Probably on mute. But, I mean, as we talk now, we're still socially distanced, which is a bit peculiar, so I don't get a selfie. But, I mean, this is the start of things, and Cinderella's going to be a massive panto. You've got the advantage of the fact that the Grand are putting all of this on themselves. So we've got a show which is going to be homegrown, and you guys get to help build it.
Oh, this is literally incredible. Like AJ said, this is sort of the first thing back for us, the big thing, performing back on stage, live theatre, what we love to do. And this show, they've got that LED wall, which is just going to... it adds a whole nother element to the show. Like, we've just watched a video of it, and I'm not even joking. The scene changes, it's seamless. It just shoots straight past, so it's perfect. And kids are brought up on iPads, on iPhones, all of these things in this day and age. So watching an LED screen with the live element as well, it's just going to touch home even more with kids. It really, really is. And they're going to get engrossed into it, love it, and just get overwhelmed and excited with this whole performance.
And it is part of the panto magic. And when it comes to being brothers playing these two parts, because we've got Prince Charming and Dandini, this is going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's... I think the one nice thing with this scenario, especially these two roles, is for us... obviously, Kurt likes doing the comical side, and for us being brothers, we don't have to kind of work at it. We know each other's time, and we look at each other. We can kind of work out what's going to be said and done. So it's so relaxed. And I think Kurt always does a different live performance. I don't know how to say this for everybody watching. Kurt's always spontaneous. He always keeps me on my toes. So we have obviously a rough what's supposed to happen.
You know what the script says, yeah.
Yeah, and Kurt is usually Kurt always keeps us on our toes, which is entertaining, especially when it comes to a pantomime. He knows he can get away with it because he says it's a pantomime. So every performance is going to be 110%. Curtis goes above and beyond. I'm not saying that I don't go above and beyond, but Curtis is on another level sometimes.
Or another planet, is that?
Yeah.
You can say that, I can't. Actually, you can say that.
As long as he keeps his feet on the floor, we're fine.
That's all good. I mean, but you've done panto before, haven't you?
Yes. I played Dick in Dick Whittington, High Wycombe. Fantastic show, yeah.
But it's the first time working together on something like this?
This is the first time working together in a pantomime format, 100%. Now, it's going to be good. It's going to bring a whole new element to our performance. It's going to be a growing and learning curve for us. But the main thing is it's going to be good fun. It's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be very, very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, because Cinderella, I mean, no spoilers here, but Cinderella does get to go to the ball. But that means dancing, and if we're going to ask anyone to get involved with dancing, you two are the boys, aren't you? Let's face it.
Well, we know a couple of moves here or there, so I think that we may be able to bust them out on stage.
I can't wait to actually be on stage, dancing in a nice... Gosh, I don't
You know what you're wearing.
I don't know what I'm wearing yet. That's what I'm,
you may be saying nice until you put it on. You're like, oh gosh, this is Chase.
It's probably tight, but anyway, yeah. No, but it's going to be great to be able to dance, and I think this pantomime itself, it's set perfectly. It's suited. Both of us being able to dance, and we're just going to have fun. Just going to be out there performing and just making everybody smile.
And have you got any Panto memories that it's going to sort of invoke from when you were kids? I mean, is this sort of thing? Have you been to Pantos as kids? Because not everybody gets a chance
We
to.
did go to pantomimes as a kid, but not as many as we probably should have, because we were always busy doing kind of performing and actually...
The school, we had dancing.
Dancing, yeah. And we were always into our extreme sports, so we were always just kind of like out and about in the countryside. So no, I think what's really good for us is kind of both have done pantomimes before, performing in it, but doing it together is a whole new experience. And it's something we've always wanted to do. It's something we were really aiming towards doing. So for it to actually come true, it's kind of, it's a bit of a dream together.
It's going to be good. We're looking forward to it. And with the reality TV stuff you've done as well, you used to reacting to audiences, even though that's been a bit more remote. But you used to strange things in anything that life can throw at you. And Panto is there, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Like when we were kids, we were in our dancing. We used to perform to a live audience anyway. And whilst the ladies had to get changed into their dresses, which could take 5-10 minutes sometimes.
More like 15-20.
Yeah, on a bad day. Yeah, we would literally be thrown in front of the audience, given a microphone by mum and dad, and said, talk for 10-15 minutes. Talk to the audience. So we're used to that live element, and we love that live element we do, because it keeps you on your toes and you never know what's going to happen, which is good. Yeah.
Live TV is good, but it's usually like you've got 2, 3, 1, gone. Whereas actually with the pantomime, you're able to interact, and it's so nice, especially with this theatre. I feel like every single seat you can physically see the people. You can pick them out, and you can kind of you can use them for your positive and them, and it's really nice to be able to kind of have that element. Sometimes it feels like you don't always get that, and the architecture. This is the most beautiful theatre that I've ever been in, I feel like.
Oh, this genuinely is. When we stood on stage when we came in before, I just looked around, and it is a grand. It's a grand theatre. You feel at home. You feel like shows are meant to be put on in this place, which is good for a theatre. It's what you want.
Well, I will say break a leg. We're looking forward to the show. It is coming to Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre. It is a homegrown production from the 4th of December right the way through to the 9th of January. 01902 429212 is the box office number. grandtheatre.co.uk. Get your tickets now. Come and see these boys doing their thing. It's going to be worth it, isn't it, lads?
100%.
That's it all for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 631 next week. I hope I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.